Welcome to banddirector.com. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Arthur Weisberg. I am the bassoon professor at Indiana University School of Music. I've played in a number of the major orchestras and some of the famous chamber music ensembles around the country. Tonging is something that all wind players have to deal with, and some people have great difficulty with tonging. I'm going to talk first about single tonging, which is the most common type of tonging, and certainly the one that people will start with. It's a fact that single tonging speeds vary tremendously from person to person. They cover a great range. Some people cannot single tongue faster than 16th notes at quarter equals 100. That's not very fast. That's about da 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 da. And some people can single tongue way up around 144 or faster. That's pretty fast. But a lot of people cannot single tongue that fast. So we have quite a range in single tonguing. Whereas a more advanced technique called double tonguing, everyone can double tongue quite fast, but everyone cannot single tongue quite fast. I'm going to talk about single tonguing, the technique of doing it first, because it's actually also related to double tonguing. But let's talk about single tonguing. We're talking now about relatively fast notes, what's called staccato notes, in which the sound is started with the tongue and ended with the tongue, not with the breath, as too many players do. If you try to end every note with the breath, you will never have a fast single tongue. This is what a single tongue sounds like, a short note. So I'm starting the note with my tongue and ending it with the tongue back on the reed. Of course, you start with your tongue right in the center of this double reed, right in the center. You pull it back a fraction of an inch, and I can't tell you what that fraction is. I don't know how to measure it. It's a relatively small amount, and it goes right back to the reed. Now, that's what the tongue does. It just goes back and forth. Now, but what's very important for staccato tonguing, is that the embouchure does not move at all during the tonguing, and the air does not change at all during the tonguing. So what you're doing really is producing an amount of air which it translates into a dynamic. You want to play forte, you have a lot of air going in. You want to play piano, you have a small amount. But whatever it is, a steady amount of air is being produced. With my tongue on the reed, I am producing the air, but there will be no sound because my tongue is on the reed. But the pressure of the air will be behind it, and you won't see anything really. I'm blowing, but nothing's happening because my tongue is blocking the opening. In order to tongue, all you have to do is pull your tongue back, and the note starts immediately. Nothing is going on, no motion at all, except your tongue goes off of the reed and back on. The air pressure stays constant, and the embouchure stays constant. The embouchure is playing that note at that dynamic. No matter how fast you tongue, that's the situation. The embouchure is producing that note, and the air is producing that dynamic. You should see no motion at all in my embouchure, because staccato notes do not need any motion. In fact, they must not have any motion at all. Of course, there's the other complete type of tonguing, in which I call it breath endings, in which you end a note with your breath, but that has nothing to do with staccato, and the two must not be mixed together. So you start practicing just by moving your tongue back and forward. And you want to produce a very short note, because ultimately you can't tongue any faster than the shortest note you can produce. And this should take you up ideally to about quarter note equals 120. That's the norm for most people, tonguing 16th notes at quarter note equals 120. but it's not fast enough for all of the music that exists. And for the faster speeds, we have to go into double tonguing. Double tonguing is for almost all players, because almost no one can tongue as fast as some composers have asked us to tongue. For bassoonists, there's a famous solo in the Beethoven Fourth Symphony, and it's on all auditions. And Beethoven wrote that at a speed of quarter note equals 160. If you can imagine tonguing at 160, I can't tongue at 160, and there's practically no one in the entire world that can single tongue at 160. So therefore, you either play that solo very badly. In the old days, people used to play it by putting in lots of slurs. That's 2 and 2, but it's not what Beethoven wrote. That's about the tempo that Beethoven wrote, and people cannot single tongue it. So they have a lot of trouble with it. And there are a few solos that are in that speed. Somehow, after the classical period, composers stopped writing so fast, tonguing. I don't know why. Maybe it's because in the classical period, the bassoon was often doubling the cellos, and they didn't have any trouble with that speed. So Haydn and Mozart and Beethoven wrote very fast tonguing for the bassoon. So if you've seen my little video of single tonguing, in which I said that single tonguing and double tonguing are very related. I'll explain how they're related. As I said, in single tonguing, you must start and stop the note with the tongue. Double tonguing means that after you say the t, we call it a t, it's not really a t, but we say it t, the second half of that involves saying a k, k, t, k, t, k. That's the double tongue, the double action of the tongue, front and back. And where you start to say the K's part of it is exactly where you would normally say the letter K. You don't have to search for a place in your throat to do that, because you know where a K exists. And a K exists in every language, so all people can double tongue. Tuk, cut, tuk, cut, tuk, cut, tuk, cut, tuk, cut is what you're saying when you double tongue. Now, the problem is the T part of it is very simple, direct, and positive. That's what we're used to doing with our tongue on the reed. The K is totally different. When you stop the sound with the K, it's not nearly as positive as touching the reed and stopping the vibrations. What you're doing with the K is stopping the air. On the front, you stop the reed. In the back, you stop the air. But it can be developed to the point where the two sounds are the same. That's double tonguing. Now, you would never double tongue that slow. You don't have to, of course. When it's that slow, you'll single tongue. But I just wanted to show you that the sounds can be the same. And when you practice double tonguing, it's a matter of starting, like anything else, starting very slow and spending 1 year speeding up. 1 year. And you should keep track of your metronome mark every day, every week, and be gradually pushing it up. When you practice, in the beginning, your main goal is to try to match the sounds of the two. Because in the beginning, I don't know if I can play it the way beginners do it, but I'll try. You get two sounds that are really different. One of them, if you notice, was very flat. And when a note goes flat when you start it, it means you've moved your embouchure. You've opened your embouchure. And it seems to be what most people do when they try to say the K. Saying the K seems to make people drop their embouchure, which it doesn't have to. When you drop your embouchure, you get a note going flat. So the T sound is very easy to start and very hard to stop. The K sound is hard to start and easy to stop. That's why we get, in the beginning, such different sounds between the T's and the K's. But with steady practice and your teacher listening to you and 1 year of time, you too can double tongue.